Hello, my name is Rogers Jackson. I am the pastor of the Emmanuel Baptist Church, 8301 South Damon Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60620. I will be sharing with you Sunday School Reflections for Sunday, March 26, 2023. The subject of the lesson is titled, One with a Mental Illness. One with a mental illness. The scriptures are found in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 5, verses 1 through 13, and verses 18 through 20. One with a mental illness. Lesson aims. Mental illness is a medical condition that often results in diminished capacity for coping with ordinary demands of life. Secondly, realize that serious mental illnesses include depression, schizophrenia, panic disorders, and post-traumatic stress disorders. Thirdly, in what way can we help others who are facing mental illness? The Gospel of Mark, chapter 5, verse 1. And they came over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gadareans. The 8th clause of verse 1. And they, the Lord Jesus and his disciples, came over unto the other side, the east side of the Sea of Galilee, into the country of the Gadarenes that was between the towns of Gadara and Gergesa. Verse 2. And when he, the Lord Jesus, was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. The 8th clause of verse 2. And when the Lord Jesus was come out of the ship, immediately from this time presently, there met him the Lord Jesus out of the tombs where memorials were carved out of mountains, a man with an unclean spirit that was polluted and defiled. Verse 3. Who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains. The 8th clause of verse 3. A man with an unclean spirit had his dwelling where he permanently resided among the tombs. The B clause. And no man could bind him, the man with the unclean spirit. No one was able to tie him up, no, not even with chains. Verse 4. because that he had been often bound with fetters and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken into pieces. Neither could any man tame him. The 8th clause of verse 4. Because that he, the man with the unclean spirit, had been often bound and tied with fetters that were chains that shackled his feet. The B clause of verse 4. And the chains had been plucked and pulled out asunder, being torn and pulled apart by him, and the fetters broken in pieces. Neither could any man tame him by causing him to be stilled and quiet. Verse 5. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. The 8th clause of verse 5. And always, night and day, he, the man with the unclean spirit, was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself and wounding himself with stones. Verse 6. But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshiped him. The 8th clause of verse 6. But when he, the man with the unclean spirit, saw the Lord Jesus afar off, he ran and worshiped him, praising God with a word and an applause for his salvation. Verse 7. And cried with a loud voice and said, What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not. The 8th clause of verse 7. And he, the man with the unclean spirit, cried with a loud voice and said, What have I to do with you, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? The B clause. I adjure you. I put you under an oath by God that you torment and afflict me not. Verse 8. For he said unto him, Come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. The 8th clause of verse 8. For he, the Lord Jesus, said unto him, the man with the unclean spirit, Come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. Verse 9. And he asked him, What is your name? And he answered, saying, My name is Legion, for we are many. The 8th clause of verse 9. And he, the Lord Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" The B clause. And he, the man with the unclean spirit, answered, saying, "My name is Legion. I have a division of 5,000 to 6,000 demons in my life, for we are many." Verse 10. And he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. The A clause of verse 10. And he, the unclean spirit, besought and asked how much the Lord Jesus that he would not send them away out of the country. Verse 11. Now there was there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding. The A clause of verse 11. Now there was there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine, of hogs and pigs feeding. Verse 12. And all the devils besought him, saying, "Send us into the swine, that we may enter into them." The A clause of verse 12. And all the devils besought, asking him, saying, "Send us into the swine of hogs and pigs, that we may enter into them." Verse 13. And forthwith Jesus gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. And the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. They were about 2,000 and were choked in the sea. Verse 18. And when he was come into the ship, he that had been possessed with the devil prayed him that he might be with him. The A clause of verse 18. And when he, the Lord Jesus, was come into the ship, he that had been possessed with the devil prayed, asking him that he might be with him. Verse 19. Howbeit, Jesus suffered him not, but saith unto him, Go home to thy friends, and tell them how great things the Lord hath done for thee, and hath had compassion on thee. The A clause of verse 19. Howbeit, on the contrary, the Lord Jesus suffered and did not allow the man to go with him. The B clause. But the Lord Jesus said to the man, Go home to your friends and tell them how great things that are sufficient and enough that the Lord has done for thee, and hath had compassion, giving you extended help. Verse 20. And he departed and began to publish in Decapolis how great things Jesus had done for him, and all men did marvel. The 8th clause of verse 20. And he, the man with the unclean spirit, departed and began to publish and to preach and to proclaim in Decapolis, that was the region of 10 cities that was east of the Jordan River, how great and sufficient things that the Lord Jesus had done for him. And the B clause of verse 20 concludes, and all men did marvel with wonder and admiration. These are a few reflective notes for our Sunday, March 26, 2023 Sunday school lesson. One with a mental illness. Let us